Everybody, it's mL7, and this time we're gonna be reviewing Ana Mercy Kiriko in gold. I think it's probably gonna be Ana most of the time though. So I've played Overwatch more seriously for 7 to 8 months now, and it's one of your very first FPS games. Only played a bit of Apex before. Your videos and streams have helped me a lot though, so thank you for that. That being said, I have been in plat on a different account before. I wanna appreciate some advice to climb again and improve my gameplay, especially on Ana and Kiriko. Key moment number 1. I feel like my positioning is fine for the most part, but I might have been playing Ana too defensively here. Missed anti-nades and generally not pressuring the enemy enough. For example, the LW, who was out in the open for a pretty long time. After we lose this fight despite Nano and Ram ult, the enemy team snowballed the rest of their attack, even though the round could have ended here. Up until the point where Sim ults and walls Ram off. What could I have done better? So let's watch from 4:25 until 5:10. See what's happening. Olaf, see you later. 4:25, it's over here. I'll thank the subs after the review, by the way, chat.
I am outstanding.
No recovery. I'll keep you up.
10 seconds.
Find cover and hold. Almost won.
Don't fret. I see you. You're powered up. Get in there.
Good Nano.
The Eye of Horus watches over you. We're outnumbered. Be careful. Helping you out.
The payload has reached.
Okay. So, let's go step by step. You said that Overwatch is one of your first FPSs after Apex. You've been in plat before, now you're in gold. We can talk about 2 key things that you can work on to improve really fast. This is a good key moment that you showed, by the way. Number 1, there's such a thing in gaming called APM, actions per minute. I feel like your actions per minute are a little bit slower. I don't know if this is correlated with the fact that that this is an FPS, or that you haven't played games before, or that you swap from console to PC. Usually, the more time you invest in games, the faster you're gonna be and the more actions you're gonna be able to do. Because right now, what I'm saying is, you focus on aiming and that's it. You're not moving. You're focusing on moving and that's it. You do like 2, maybe 3 things at the same time when you could do more. You can, for example, put your cursor onto your Amatra while dodging, while quick scoping, while unscoping. It all has to do with the amount of actions that you can do. Now you have 2 solutions to this. Number 1, you can just play the game more and consciously tell yourself to play faster, as in more. Play faster can just be dictated by shooting faster or by just doing this. I'm not joking, just doing this. In Overwatch, compared to Valorant, you have to move non-stop. Try to move non-stop. Like, the amount of time in which I stand still in a game is probably less than 2%, less than 1%. Move. You have to move. Even if you're here in a safe position, you gotta move. You have to move. You can either reposition close or you can go backwards, and get yourself into a better angle. So either actively try to tell yourself I have to do more, I have to move, or what I recommend is try to play a lot of deathmatch. Because one other trick to learn how to do more actions faster is to have better mechanics on the hero that you're playing. I can see clearly that you're standing still. You play a lot of Ana, you have the golden gun, you're standing still, you're aiming well, but you're taking your sweet time. You know what I mean? And Overwatch is a very fast game. You have to bam. You have 2 ways of doing this. You either do stuff very fast, very bad, and eventually you'll learn, which is my style, or you do it nice and slow. It's like you're learning a choreography. So like, for example, I have to do bam. Okay? And you can do it very scuffed at the beginning. And it's not that clean. Or you can do it slow. I do this move, and then I do this move. And then with time, you're gonna add more. I feel like you're more of the second type of person that learns like this. As in, you do things slow. So you stand still, you scope in, you do that. Now you have to add to your play style, okay? You learn these 4 steps. You learn how to stand still, you learn how to scope in. Playing deathmatch and learning mechanics such as quick scoping, jumping and quick scoping, doing unscope shots, understanding the benefits of animation canceling with unscope shot and nade will elevate your gameplay very fast. Okay? So like, you have mastered the 4 steps. You have mastered bam, 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 bam. Now you gotta do it faster, bam, 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 and then add extra stuff, rather than doing everything scuffed at the same time. I'm gonna enter training range to show you exactly what I mean, because I feel like this is super important to a lot of players that are starting, that are playing Overwatch as like one of their first FPSs. So you're doing this amazing. You're probably doing this sometimes even better than I am. Right? But the more you do it, it's kind of like shifting gears when you're driving a car. It has to come in naturally. You don't have to actively think about it. You have to do this, you have to dodge, you have to reload, you have to melee, unscope shot, nade, unscope. I'm just gonna cover some very basic mechanics that you have to learn before moving on to the second part of the explanation. Number 1, learn how to quickscope. Quickscoping, I have the video, I don't think it's gonna be linked right here, but Google quickscope mL7. It's a guide from a couple of years ago. I explained the benefits of unscope shots, scoped in shots, and quickscope. TLDR, quick unscope shots make you have 0 movement penalty while doing them, and they're projectile, so they're a little bit harder to land because you have to predict where your allies/enemies are going to be, but you can reposition yourself faster. Scoped in shots they have no bullet trail. Scoped in shots, they have a bullet trail, they hit scan, but you move slower, there's a movement penalty. If you quickscope, you have the bullet trail, but you do not lose any movement speed while doing so. The fire rate is a little bit slower though. So like if you want to pump in a lot of heals, you gotta do unscoped or scoped in. The difference between them, from what I remember, is very small or the same. I can't quite remember it. But if you have to move, you gotta quickscope. So like for example, how you're playing over there on high ground, this is a very safe spot, right? But you should move, either in front, either in the back. Depends on how you approach this. So that's one mechanic that you have to learn, and this is what I want you to practice in deathmatch, 15 minutes a day maybe. Or in paintball lobbies to learn with your hero a little bit better. And the second one would be unscope shot nade. There was a case, I'm gonna show you exactly in the VOD where Sim was dropping, and like, you hesitated to throw the nade at her. So like, nade aiming, even if it's in training range, if it brings you any comfort, when I first started playing Ana, I was tragic with my nades. I don't have one of the players that I played with at the beginning of Overwatch here in chat, but if I would want to nade someone over there, I would nade like this. I'm not joking, because I played a lot of CS before Overwatch. So like, even thinking staying here and throwing 10 nades per, I don't know, in your queue time, put 0 cooldowns on your nades and go like, where do I have to aim the nade to aim it at the training bot? Somewhere over here, let's say it's gonna hit him directly. With time, you're gonna learn the trajectory from different distances. You're gonna go way in the back and do it like this. And it's okay if you miss, but you have to practice. You have to throw scuffed nades. You don't have to be afraid to aim a nade at somebody that's playing over there, for example, because landing this nade might win the fight or not for you. Let's continue afterwards. Second part of the explanation, apart from obviously moving a little bit faster, as I said, like doing more actions per minute. It can be either by moving with your keyboard, doing animation cancels, learning different mechanics about your hero regarding your game style, for example, with Ana, or
30 seconds remaining.
we can talk about something that can help you climb very fast in Overwatch without actually making you a better mechanical player. And let me take a sip of coffee because I've been talking non-stop. 1 second, I'm sorry. Okay, now I'm moist again. Mouth is wet. So, second part is more my, like, macro, I would say. These are like micro stuff. Like what depends on you as an individual and the carry potential. This is what makes a difference between you and other players. Now, you can do this and climb just based on your mechanics, or you can do the second part or just combine them, which is what I recommend. The second part of the explanation would be realize what the enemies can do to you and play to that limit. Envision I have a hair tie, okay? Envision this, okay? If you push it like this, eventually this is full tension. If I push it more, it might break. This is the same with the enemy team comp. If you're playing in the open against double snipers, you're pushing it. Right? You're pushing it. It's gonna explode. You will suffer. It's gonna hit you. But if you're playing against Soldier and Symmetra from long range with a Kiri that can maybe headshot you, you will take some damage from Soldier. You might get a headshot from Kiri, but the pressure is not as high. So understanding what the enemies can do to you is super important to dictate your playstyle. I feel like the best players are the players that adapt to all different of playstyles, because if you play very aggressive, that's easy to counter. If you play very defensive, that's easy to counter. If you adapt to what how your team plays and how the enemy team plays, and you're more like you just adjust, you know, to the team's needs, then I feel like you're going to have a way better gaming experience rather than getting frustrated because being aggressive nonstop doesn't work. So, if, let's say in this case, your Ramatra is popping off, right? Your Ramatra is popping off. Then play very close to him. They can't snipe you, they can't do anything to him. Play very close to him. Nades only on him. Sleep darts only if somebody goes for you, if they go for Ramatra. And play just with your Ramatra. Of course, you're going to take care of the others as well, but play with your Ramatra. If, let's say, your team is not playing that well, and you feel like you can look for more aggressive opportunities with pushing the limits and stuff, then try to look to do stuff to the enemies. Now, second part of the second explanation, okay, with the amount of space, the amount of things that the enemies let you do. Initially, I recommend that you always look for aggressive opportunities. I know that it's a little bit scary if this is like one of your first FPSs, but you have like those moments where, you know how it is? You look at a wall collapsing, you right? Yeah, like you stay there and you look at the wall collapsing and you're hesitating to do something. Maybe if you would have went a little bit earlier to help and rebuild the wall, or I don't know, like hold the wall or something like that, it might have not collapsed. It might have collapsed, it might have not collapsed. For the analogy in game to make sense here, you stay there and you're waiting for stuff to happen, and it might collapse, it might not collapse, but you're not actively contributing to it. So you staying here, the enemies are not thinking about Ana. The enemies are like, okay, Ramatra, Moira here, where's Ana? Ana's just healing in the back. You're a spectator to your game instead of being the main character, okay? You're an episodic actor right here in the team fight. You're here, nobody's bothering you, no nothing. You have to be in the back of their head. You have to annoy them. They have to be scared. But Mr. Streamer, how do I translate this in game? I said earlier, think of what the enemies can do to you. In this case, they cannot one-shot from long distance, one-shot you from long distance, so you can play a little bit in the open and then kite back. So instead of staying over here all the way in Narnia, the enemies... Wait, where are the enemies? Let's say this team fight is won. Look, this team fight is won. Then go over here. Play close to Ramatra. You're afraid of being headshotted and stuff? Then play close to the wall. So in case you get headshotted, you can just fall back. So look, for example, let's say that you apply pressure from here. Maybe you need the Kiriko. Maybe you need the soldier. Maybe you sleep at the Kiriko here. Look at how low she is. Look at, maybe supporting. You still stay there. You still stay there. Bomb, bomb. Right over here where my cursor is. And now they start walking to you. And now you start walking back to your same spot. For example, Sim might have TP'd there. A cool trick, by the way. This is a small mechanical Ana thing, I would say. If you see Symmetra TP, or if you see Diva Bomb, throw the nade on the Sim TP or on the Diva Bomb. If you throw it at the Diva Bomb, then you will do on top of it when she ults. Then you will land the nade while she demechs, right? And that's half of her HP. With Sim, usually, when they place the TP, they're going to either put the turrets there, or somebody's gonna take the TP. So you're still getting value out of your nade. So for example, over here, I would be thinking, if I can look for an aggressive opportunity, I would be thinking, they have Sim. If they TP somewhere, I'm gonna nade it.
30 seconds remaining.
Look, so safe, so everything. You could play like this if you'd be a little bit scared if they would play with snipers. But even then, you're going to see that when you're going to climb, you have to apply pressure to the snipers as well. But okay, I'm not going to complicate it with that part. We're still with the basics. Look, TP there. And exactly what we talked about in training range with higher APM, throw the nade there. So what if Sim TP is there? So what? Stand still. Stand still. Shoot a little bit. Take your time. Right now, this is the nade. This is the nade over here above. And this is the nade over here as well. Sim might have died. And this is why it's super important with high APM and with mechanics that I talked about a little bit earlier. Staying scoped in, like standing still to shoot immovable objects that are not even shooting your team, might not be optimal. These are like 2 shots that could have been invested in you pressuring the Sim over there, or throwing a nade at the Reinhardt or stuff like that.
No recovering.
Who knows? Maybe the nade left side would have done more. Maybe the nade earlier would have done more as well.
I'll keep you up.
And another part of this explanation, oh my god, what team fight. And something extra that I want to say. Okay, this is a big trick for gold and for silver, for bronze and stuff like that as well. This is a very simple trick, okay? Third part. So first part, we talked about mechanics and how to increase your APM. Second part, we talked about what the enemies can do to you. And it doesn't have to be that complicated. It has to be like about what do you feel about the heroes. Like, for example, if you're scared of playing against the Winston, just think what Winston can do to me, you know, and what can I do to him. Like, for example, he jumps, then I can do that. Like, your playstyle adapts. The things that, for example, I do or others do compared to each other is different depending on experience and on how confident we are in our abilities. Same with you. You're afraid of a soldier, you're afraid of Reinhardt, then you're going to adjust your playstyle. But that doesn't mean that you should start passive all the time. So the third part that I wanted to talk about is very simple trick. Look at a kill feed. The first kill, that's the only thing that you have to look at, or press tab with if you're in gold. If a kill is happening, if your allies get a kill, okay, if your allies get a kill, press W and you're not forced to use abilities. If your allies are down one, look to use your abilities. Does that make sense? So if you're +1 and you walk in front and you save your abilities, you're 5 versus 4. You have the numerical advantage. You don't need to pressure that much. In case the enemies want to overextend and stuff, then you can punish them with your abilities. This is where a lot of players also mess up in high ranks as well. So like they have the advantage and then they throw the advantage because you have another hero that has extra abilities. You know, you have the sleep dart, you have the nade, you can just walk in and you can pressure. So you have to press W. But you're afraid of pressing W. It doesn't matter. On-scope shot, get close to this wall. Or get close to this wall. You know? Close and close, closer and closer and closer. If you're 5 versus 4, like the enemies get a kill on one of your allies, then you have to play fast. You don't back out. You have to throw a nade. You have to throw a sleep dart. So again, the two situations, your team is up 1, 5 versus 4. You look at who gets the first kill. You walk in front and you don't use abilities that much unless you have to. You don't have to look for aggressive opportunities. You have to focus on keeping your team alive. But while doing so, get in cover. Part number 2, if the enemies get a kill on your allies, you have to explode. You have to turn the fight around with a sleep dart or with a nade. Of course, this doesn't always work, but in the majority of cases, it will work. Wow, this was a long key moment. Okay, last team fight from 24:00 until 24:55. Let's watch this. Wait, let me read it actually. Our attack round went okay and we managed to cap with the same time left. Can't get it further. In the last fight, I decided to switch to Kiriko for more survivability, but my nerves get the better of me. I tunnel vision on DPSing too hard, lose the Kiriko, and find myself in bad positions that could have been easily avoided, which is why we lose the game in the end. Should I have stayed on or just handled this differently on Kiriko? How do you have tips to stay calm in situations like these? Okay, last team fight from 24 until 24:55. Where is it? 24:55. The fight is a little bit ugly.
A taste of
Carried on the wind.
Hard.
Your wounds run deep.
Into the iris.
Now go get him.
You cannot escape me. Reforming you.
Thanks. Under my
Just
protection.
keep watching. This is actually 2 fights.
Kanezaka Jinja protects you.
Okay.
Come on.
I don't have to watch more. 3 things to talk about this team fight. Number 1,
Carried on the wind.
4 things. But first one, let's just say that you're a little bit scared of doing so. Let's just play it safe, okay? First one. So, we're in gold. We're knowing what ultimates are doing. And we also kind of know, we talked about this in the first key moment, what we can do to the enemies. Now, you can keep Ana with this. Ana would have worked amazingly here, by the way. Because you would have played from high ground. They had no way of denying your nades other than a Reinhardt shield. One big nade when the Reinhardt drops his shield or his shield breaks, and you win this. One sleep out on Bastion, and you win this. But this is about personal preference. You might have like some players that think that I can clash with Kiriko here than with Ana. If this would have been me, for example, with my hero knowledge, I would have kept Ana here. Clear and simple. We had Ram ult, we had Mei ult, we had Riptide. I play here on top. I take some damage, I stay in cover, I don't use the nade. I save the sleep dart for when Bastion goes in his target form to sleep dart him. And I save the nade for when Reinhardt's shield is low, he backs out and I have a nade on somebody in the backline. I'll crack in about 30-40 minutes. Play 2 more, bro. Okay? Play 2 or 3. 2 more. Or 3. We'll see. So this is what I would have been doing. I would have waited here. This is a good angle. I have high ground. I have cover. Wetana dream. Now, Kiriko isn't necessarily a bad pick here. But you have to think, why did you pick Kiriko? Did you pick Kiriko to do damage? Did you pick Kiriko for the Suzu? What did you pick Kiriko for? And now we go into more of a micro first and then macro secondly. Let's start with macro actually and then the micro part because this is exactly how I feel like your thought process went. Macro wise, we press tab and we think what the enemies have, what do we have? No ultimates have been used. It's hard for me to keep track of what the enemies have ultimate wise, but it's easy for me to keep track of what my allies have because I can just press tab and see their ultimates. Ramatra has ult, Junkrat has ult, Mei has ult. You know what this means if you're a support? You stop trying to be the star. You are the one that's enabling. You're the secret carry. You're the one in the shadows that is trying to make things possible. What this means is that you try to put your resources as much as you can into your allies. If your Ramatra is low, you Suzu him. If your Junkrat wants to go aggressive, you're ready to follow up. If your Mei wants to go aggressive, you're ready to follow up. This means that you are not the one that's putting pressure on the enemies, and you're the one that's trying to see as much of the battlefield as possible. So, in this specific team fight, the 3 is there, Moira fades in, and over here we panic a little bit. Yeah, we panic a little bit. We drop, we throw the Suzu when he's full HP. I mean, it's okay to do the burst damage there, I guess. But then we TP in. Moira is already with Ramatra going in deep. You can still heal him from this range, right? From over here. And you still have Mei ult to play with. You can help. You can play with Mei here. You can... Moira fading there is not on you. If you would have been here, for example, healing the Ramatra and maybe doing some damage to the Bastion, maybe he did not have to use the Riptide over there. Still, this fight would have been winnable even 3 versus 4 over here, by the way. This is like one of those very scuffed fights. Right? One of those very scuffed fights. The basic idea is you use your abilities a little bit too early here because you panicked of the amount of damage that they were doing. And the reason why I did that was because of your initial positioning with Kiriko. So, we press tab, we see what your allies have, and we think how we can enable them. We try to enable them, but without giving our lives for it. In this case, I know that the panic kicked in. This is panic playing. What can I do, Mr. Streamer? What can I do? Let's do the patting in a different way. I walk back from spawn.
A taste of poison.
I walk. I heal. I heal. I heal. I shoot. I rotate. I shoot. I Suzu. I shoot the Bastion. I do the Kiridum. I shoot the Bastion. Bastion shoots me. I go back. I heal. I heal. I shoot. We get some picks. I walk in. Bam bam. Who knows if over from here you might have landed some headshots before the fight was happening. Let's just say that sometimes fights like these are unwinnable though. But TLDR, you walking in the middle of everybody when you want to enable them is not the star play here. You have to be able to see the battlefield and then decide what you want to do in this case. Don't use your cooldowns that fast either when your RAM is... I mean, no, never mind. The Suzu cooldown was okay. You did it for Bastion. That was okay. Now let's talk about the second part, which is the micro part. The reason why you pick Kiriko. You probably pick Kiriko to think that you can get a pick rather than for Suzu usage. So in this case, Mei is dead. And something's very important here.
Thanks.
If you pick Kiriko to get a pick and they don't have anything to Suzu from the enemies, right? They don't have anti-nade, don't have sleep dart, and even if they have that, then you have to save the resources for yourself, right? You have to save the resources for yourself. So like if you had the right idea, you go behind them, you do damage, and then you TP out, but you use the Suzu for yourself. You see this a lot in high ranks, right? So like right now,
Under my protection.
you're healing them up, and then you're like, I have to make a play, which is good. I have to make a play. I don't give you my Suzu. I don't give you my Suzu. I shoot the Bastion, I shoot the Life Weaver, I drop. Look at this. Imagine you dropping here and doing damage here or here. Bastion turns it out for you. Maybe Soldier turns it out for you. They stop melting them. Right now, you would do it. Bastion would be dead. At this moment, Bastion would be dead. Right? So let's watch the team fight from over here, from this perspective. Let's just envision that you drop here in 0.25. So you save the Suzu.
Ginger protects you.
I wouldn't climb this, but still, you do 1 damage. You go like, I can't hit you, whatever. Oh, I see Bastion low. I drop. I do some damage. Oh no, he turns around to shoot me. He can turn around to shoot me, or I can just use the Suzu on myself over here to try to get a Bastion. And what happens after the team fight over here? He dies. I use the Suzu, and then I can TP. I then TP to Ram. I TP to Junkrat probably. Now we're in a 5 versus 4, and the fight is still happening. And Bastion is dead right now. And I heal up Ram. I heal up Junkrat. And then we might have a chance at actually winning the fight, because Bastion gets the kill on Ram. Another big part about this is whenever you want to do for these types of plays, think of an anchor that you want to TP to. Okay? So like for example, you pick Kiriko, you think that, bro, I want to go and get a kill. Who do I TP to? If you TP in front of somebody, in 4 or 5 allies, 4 or 5 enemies, you're gonna die. So in this case, the anchor would be, Moira's gonna play close to Ram. Ram is gonna be in them. So the only target, because May died, is Junkrat. So I'm gonna go in, but before I go in, I'm gonna turn around to see where Junkrat is. Shoot, and then turn around and go for Junk. One more thing that I want to talk about when doing for this types of plays before we hop in Olaf review. This was a very complicated one, oh my god, but with a lot of good tips. I know that this VOD review probably feels very overwhelming for you, but if you learn like 1 or 2 stuff from it, it's a beginning, and then you can review it afterwards, and then I add more and more and more, because we talked about like 20 plus extra things.
I'll find my
One
own
quick
path.
trick, by the way, to do when you want to
Like
TP
a
out.
gentle rain.
They did this change. I don't know if you do it or not. Let's say, for example, you want to do some damage over there and you want to TP back to your team. If you press shift, so right now I'm holding shift, and you turn around, you'll TP to the first target that you get to, that it connects to. Right? A while ago it wasn't like this. So wait, let me show you that I actually press shift. So right now I'm pressing shift, you see? I'm smashing the key. And now if I look, the first target, the first ally that it connects to, it just TPs to them.
Draws us together.
So if you want to go for really hyper aggressive plays, and like you want to anchor to somebody to your left and on your right because the fight is happening there, then you can just shoot and turn around like
I
this.
was drawn to you.
If you want to anchor to somebody on the right side, you can go for a big duel. Right? You do whatever, and you know that the fight is happening left side, so you shouldn't TP there, you should TP to the one on the right. So you damage, and then you TP right by holding shift. Anyway, it's the same with Tracer Recall. If you get slept, you don't spam E. You hold the key. So that the first frame it happens, it just goes through.
Haven't been watching much recently because of uni work,
Let's
but
open
I
all of
hope
review.
everyone's doing well. ML7 heart.
Okay, you're in gold, and I feel like you can work on absolutely everything apart from your... even on your game. I would say that this is 25, 25, 25, 25, okay? Decision-making, cooldowns, positioning, and aim, everything is at the same level. You're at the perfect moment of learning Overwatch, and I miss times like that. I miss times like those, bro. You can pick literally everything from this graphic and just this pie chart and get good at it, and then you can work on the other things. You can spend 10 hours to do aim training, and you're gonna climb. You can spend 10 hours to understand how to use your cooldowns a little bit better, and you're gonna climb. You can spend 10 hours to know how to position yourself better by copying top 500 positions. You can spend 10 hours by, I don't know, decision making, like just thinking about the macro part that we talked about a little bit about earlier, and you will climb. So you're at a level at which it doesn't matter that much what you pick, as long as you just pick something to focus on. Now, Olaf recommends you do this, okay? So you said something a little bit about the panic. We're gonna cover that afterwards. I'm just gonna go into like the big things. If I recommend you do the following: work on your APM, play deathmatch, and learn hero mechanics. This can be for everyone, okay? Even for Kiriko, you have some mechanics, like the one that I talked a little bit about earlier. It can be quick scoping with Ana. If you do this a little bit more, you're gonna have a way easier job of learning how to do this. Number 2, from what Olaf recommends you, trust your pick and think what you can do with it. So for example, it's a equation of what the enemies can do to you versus what you can do to them. But it's not the right word equation. It's, I would say, it's better a window of opportunity. So like for example, they have snipers and your window of opportunity to do actions to the enemies is 15% when the snipers are dead or they don't have sight lines on you. So you can go and look for an aggressive nade or go for an aggressive play and then TP back. Versus they have Symmetra and Soldier, and your possibility of doing aggressive play is more to 60%. Recognizing these scenarios comes with experience when you should do them. But I gave you 3 basic ones actually, 4 basic ones. For example, we talked about Symmetra. I'm just gonna write. When Symmetra teleports, you throw a nade in. Very simple, very clean. You almost will always get value out of it. We talked about Bastion target form if you're playing Ana. If Bastion goes in target form, throw the sleep dart. Boom, that's it. It's an easy sleep dart to land. We talked about Ana positioning with cover on high ground and waiting for the Reinhardt shield to drop or break and then throw the nade. Boom, big nade. And we talked about something else that I can't quite remember right now actually. So we're just gonna move forward. I would say number 3, do breathing exercises. Deep breaths when team fights start and maybe chew gum. You don't have to think when the fight starts. When the fight starts, you play instinctually, okay? You play instinctually. Like, you don't do the fight. You know how you need to view it? I have to, wait, Suzu the nade. Not, Gamata's gonna be low over there, then I have to Suzu the nade. But then what happens if I do that? You know, simplify it. You have to play instinctually in the team fights. You can pre-plan before the fight starts, and when the fight starts, then you just... If you do mistakes, you can check them out afterwards. Doesn't matter. You have to let it kick in. Okay, a lot of people just hold their breath when doing this. I mean, you can also hold your breath if that helps you aim a little bit better sometimes, but you gotta be a little bit chill. And I recommend you do the following. So, 10-15 minutes per day of aim training. This can be deathmatch. This can be practicing, as I talked a little bit earlier about hero mechanics, like in training range, throw the nade and stuff like that. Number 2, when you are +1, press W 3 times a game for the next couple of games. If you are down, if you are -1, then look for a play with your abilities 1 time per game. So like quantify the progress. And number 3, always tell yourself move for the next 2 games. You're gonna see that you're gonna get way better results. And number 4, try to do stuff to the enemies before they do stuff to you 3-4 times in the next couple of games. To summarize this, aim training, it can be anything mechanical wise that you can do with this. Anything can be good. As long as you're doing 10 to 15 minutes per day, the more time you put in, the more results you have and the faster you're gonna have them. This is a good habit to develop. If you're +1, you have to press W, you have to press your advantage to take better positions. If you're down 1, then you have to look for a play with your abilities. This might be a little bit complicated. With Ana/Kiriko, it means that you have to look for an aggressive flank, an aggressive nade, an aggressive sleep dart. Number 3, this is for you specifically. Just tell yourself for the next 2 games, move obsessively. You can have post-it notes. You can have just even a phone notification to spam you with this. Anything, just move consistently. You're going to see that you're going to get in way better spots and be harder to kill. And number 4, try to tank to do stuff to the enemies 3 or 4 times before in the next couple of games. This ties up to point number 2, as in they have Bastion. If he goes in target form, I do that. If they TP in, I do that. Or before they TP in, I do that. Like, actively think about playmaking rather than always reacting to it. Because yes, you react to Bastion or Symmetra TPing in, but you actively thought about reacting to it rather than just reacting to it, if that makes sense. Okay, hope you found the voting review useful. If you enjoyed it, if you found it, if you climbed after it, make sure to drop a comment at the comment section. And for the rest of y'all, if you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe. Till next time, mL7.